Hey everybody, Metaphiles. Welcome back. This here is episode, what's the episode?
One.
This here's episode 111. We're sure glad to have you back. And you know that we are the podcast that talks to you. And you like how we talk to you, don't you?
Because we talk to you good.
We talk to you real good.
We talk to you real nice.
Yeah.
And we don't alienate you by being any kind of way up top.
We don't shout at you. Like, why are you wearing that?
What the hell do you call these eggs? We don't say that.
Never have.
Never sent back eggs once in my life.
Huh. Yeah.
Never done it.
I'm Jay.
I'm Zach.
And we're talking about decisions. Or as the French say, decisions.
Ouais.
We made a decision to start the best podcast in the world.
Mm-hmm. And we made a decision more recently, and my phone made a decision to start playing the song again. That decision was not made by me.
We're like a minute 30 seconds into the podcast, and we're already shirking. What is the fucking word I'm thinking of?
Shirking is a word.
Shirking the responsibility of the decisions that we make.
Well, no.
Already.
No, listen.
Your phone doesn't make decisions for you.
I simply won't stand for this. I specifically pointed out that the decision that the phone made to play the song again was not a decision that I made. So I have shirked nothing.
I wish my phone could make my decisions for me.
I'm no dirty shirker.
Yeah.
I wish your phone could make decisions for you. Maybe you'd make better decisions about accusing people of shirking. This is not about us. This is about them. You're right.
Yeah.
And let's make the decision that it's about them.
Okay.
And that'll be a decision that we made. We also made a decision pretty recently. We made the decision to start a great podcast. We decided that. Then more recently, we decided to do an episode about decisions. And now we are. So that's a decision that we made that, I hate to say it, but certainly was not shirked. And I'm not trying to bring up old shit. But we didn't shirk that one bit. We're doing it right now.
Shirk just still sounds weird to me. Let's get it on the fact tube.
Okay.
And we can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What's a decision you've made today, Jay? Let's get to it.
I made a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I made business decisions at my work from home job. I said, I'm going to do this and this, and I'm going to plan on doing that part of it on this day, and this part of it tomorrow.
Dear my boss, I'm going to do this and this.
By send.
By with several E's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to fire me over that? Good luck training another person. It took how fucking... Anyways.
And that was an example of Jay making
work shit.
The decision not to get upset because this is about you.
Yes, I made a decision to not get upset. I'm not upset. Oh.
I've been around you when you're not upset, and this is what it's like. I woke up on decision day, which is what this is. And the very first thing I did was make a decision. And that decision was...
Stay in bed?
Go back to bed for a couple more hours. And I goddamn did it.
You're never going to get the shit that you can get out of life if you just decide to grind. You're never going to get it, man.
I do night grind.
Sure. Okay. Night grinding.
Sun goes down, I keep grinding.
Could be the move.
Okay.
Yeah, night grinding.
Grind.
It's a thing. Like, there's like lots of artistic people, that can attest to the night grind.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Werewolf.
Yeah.
Lighthouse guy.
Possums.
Willem Dafoe.
Right.
Possums. Yes. They grind it. They grind it so hard you look at one, he looks dead.
Yeah. That's right. They don't have time for nothing else but crawling around and eating things that they decide they can eat. With their God-given talents.
Which is, of course, a decision that they make.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that a decision?
Can I eat this cigarette butt with a light flavoring of buffalo wing sauce because somebody ate a 12-piece buffalo winglets?
Oh, I thought you were referring to
and then smoked one after their meal.
I thought you were referring to the new Marlboro Buffalo Wild Wing flavored cigarette, which I personally have been loving.
That's an interesting one. Flavored cigarettes.
Flavored cigarette weird. Market.
Yeah.
They only do one, and it's mint, and it's very popular.
True.
Almost half of them.
Yeah.
And then one company tried like cherry once.
Really?
Yeah. I remember people smoking those when I was in college. But nobody ever did like a buttered popcorn flavored cigarette.
Movie theater popcorn.
Yeah.
Marlboros.
Tie it into the latest Dune film.
Yeah, good idea.
Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Cinnamon cigarette.
Boy, I think Paul's ultimately starting to be the hero, but will end up as the villain. Those worms were sure big, huh?
Whole theater full of smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Coca-Cola flavored. Some people go for the gummy cigarette. This is not a podcast about cigarettes, despite some evidence.
This is really going to turn into like a free will discussion.
It may. I feel like now is the time to reveal something about this episode.
That I don't know?
Right. You don't know,
and
and
I don't think I
you don't know, but I do, and you will right now. And
at some point.
I'm just gonna lay it out now, even though it's more of a segment 2 thing. I did a little work for today's episode. It's something a little special. So this is a prototype book that I've made, and it is part of a series I want to start called Make Your Own Decisions Books. And this one is You Are Jason Ford, Podcaster by Zach W. Caffrey. It's part of the Make Your Own Decisions line of books. We'll put an insert shot of it if we need to. But so we're going to be playing this book.
Playing it?
We're going to play the book.
Okay.
And I think we'll mostly be doing it in segment 2, but we could do one right now if you like.
Let's tease it and save it for segment 2.
Okay.
That cover is tantalizing. Scintillating.
Yeah. You are You are going,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And why are you so confused? We'll find out in the book.
And you can see the Milky Way galaxy behind me there.
You can? And
A galaxy of decisions, and
that's right.
that's incredible. Wow.
That's right. The whole galaxy is making decisions all the time.
Wow.
Put a planet here. Throw a meteor that way.
Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you, and I'm so excited
about
to So I'm excited to crack it open.
So all the research is going to be that book.
Yeah,
That's great. I love that.
I looked at the etymology. It comes from Latin, decidium or something.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Wow.
So we're gonna be playing that in segment 2.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of decisions did the Latin people make? Back then, like, do I eat an olive or not?
Mm-hmm.
Do
I draw a dick on this wall? Oh, I already did. I already did that.
Yeah. Do I get vaporized by a fucking volcano? Yes or no? Pompeii.
Yeah. Very good joke.
Thanks.
I was going to ask who's the first person to ever draw a dick on a wall, but I'm certain that we've already done that on the show, and I'm certain it was Cave Person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure I was just as certain of it then as I am now. So,
We shall digress.
We shall. We have to decide to talk about something else.
Well, it's
And we
about
will.
decisions us. What's the worst decision you've ever made? How about that?
Oh, gosh.
That's a pretty heavy you topic question.
Fuck.
I already know it.
She's dead.
Oh. What's that?
What's yours?
Sure. I was really drunk at a party at my house and on Easter. It was an Easter party, and we put a peep in the microwave. The marshmallow things. I've said this on this podcast before.
You have, but
And it
refresh
blew up.
my memory.
It blew up really big because of the microwave. It practically filled the interior of the microwave.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, cool. And then I opened the microwave door and thrust my hand into it.
That's the part that's just a bad decision.
Thank you. Exactly. Like, there's been, like, probably, longer reaching ramifications to some of the decisions I've made, surely.
Mm-hmm.
But when I made the decisions that I reference with that, I was still, like, not entirely. Like, there was some kind of rationale behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But the worst, just like, what kind of a fucking decision is that? Was when I did that.
I'm gonna give you
peep hand.
Peep hand.
What?
I'm gonna give you some credit. Some.
You're diminishing your own credit. You're diminishing your own reputation here by giving someone credit for making such a decision.
I believe that my credit is such that I can afford it.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Number 1.
Yeah, you're co-host Metaphile, so you're right.
The microwave, as we discussed once, a mysterious box that does mysterious things, and you want to know what happens when you put that in there. You put a frozen gerbil in there, it comes back to life.
Does it?
Something like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
The idea of let's put a peep in there, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it at all. The peep getting really big, I want to see it. I want to see it right now. I almost want to see it on the fact tube, but I sort of just want to see it in real life more.
Mm-hmm.
The decision, once you are seeing this giant thing, to want to, much like a Bruce Lee type, punch into it and grab its still beating heart and yank it out and go, oh,
wow.
I get it. I do.
Even that's more thought out, though. I was just like, I'm putting my hand into that.
Yeah. Well, but that's what it was. Yeah, you wanted to...
I think you're grasping at straws here. You're grasping at peeps.
I suppose I'm allowing my mind to imagine the behavior of a drunk man.
It's a futile endeavor, brother.
That's a pretty bad one.
Yeah.
But, as you said, you didn't need to get skin grafts or anything. You didn't.
A couple pretty gnarly blisters, but that was it.
Yeah, you didn't have to go to the hospital and they say it's another case of peep hand.
Every Easter, we get all the peep hands.
Bad decision that I made. All right. Yeah, I'll tell an easy one. I was visiting the town where I would be going to college a few months later, visiting my friend who already was attending college there. And we were walking down like the main street, basically, of this little college town. And I was underage drinked.
Oh.
I was underage drunk up. And there was a game on. And some guy was like, "Go Duke."
Yeah, sure.
And I, just thinking like, this will be funny of me to do, was like, "Fuck Duke. I don't know from Duke. I was not going to Duke. I was not in the town where Duke is.
And it ain't funny either.
It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing."
Yeah.
But for some reason, drunk, I thought it would be hilarious. Mm. For me, a stranger, to say to another stranger, "Fuck the thing you just said you like."
You were underage joking is what you were really doing.
I was. I hadn't gotten my joking license yet.
Yeah.
I was working hard for it. Studying every day. And I said that, and this dude turned around and looked at me like I could destroy you, and I want to do it, and I might do it. And luckily, my friend was like, "He's being an idiot. Ignore him." And that, luckily, turned this Duke fan back on his axis to where he could get back to celebrating Duke and ignoring the doof. That was a very bad decision. I fully could have gotten my fucking skull pounded by fists and deserved it. And also just not a good joke. The decision to make the joke, to think that was a joke, is the part I'm the most embarrassed about.
Well, it's good that some people do make good decisions, like that guy. Maybe I won't
to not try and step to this.
Yeah.
That was the best decision he ever made in his whole life.
All right, buddy.
Because I was drunk and ready to be pretty damn funny on his ass.
Okay. I'll be funny on your ass. Turn around.
You'll be cracking up. Cracking the crack in the middle of your ass. I'm much better at jokes now.
Yeah. Welcome to Lay Players. This is part of the podcast. Potentially. Here's two subtitles.
Yeah.
I think a good podcast would be called Podsplain. Hi, welcome to Podsplain. This is a podcast. A podcast is like people put stuff online, long form videos. Long form means just like it's a longer video, okay? And
you want to get into video?
Video is just like on a screen. A screen, okay, it's like a screen is like something you look at. When you look at something, it's like you're using your eyes to like see photons that are coming into your eyes. Photons are like they're like particles that come from like energy sources. They're kind of free like radiation that is a byproduct of reactions that are creating energy, and so they just kind of shoot out. Energy is just like a form of hyperactive matter because it's like super like movie aroundy. Okay,
Super is kind of when something you may have maybe heard the word superlative, which means the most or the more than. Super is like that.
Yeah.
More than.
Yeah. Yeah. my guest is just like a guy that just like comes on and like he's not like normally here, but he's here now, and because I decided to have him on. Right? Okay, so and that's Zach. His name is Zach. That's his name.
Yeah.
He's right here. This is him.
And normal would be a thing that we could consider it to be standard, usual, everyday.
Yeah.
Commonplace, even. A commonplace, of course, would be a place to which we are familiar. It is, one could call it, normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. This is Podsplain. And so...
thank you for having me. And by having me, I, of course, mean having me be on the show. Of course.
They don't know, though, actually.
No, of course.
But, like, I know. Should we break up?
By break up, one might be indicating to make into smaller pieces.
I know.
These are not, of course, Reese's Pieces.
That's a pretty funny joke.
Thank you.
A joke is when somebody makes...
I don't think that needs to be explained.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Oh.
That was...
God, that was a long couple of minutes.
It was just insufferable, even to me, a man. Just insufferable.
Who loves explaining the most. That's why you do
Yeah.
it to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you can mansplain to other men. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
How does anybody... I guess we're back. Welcome back. Episode
Welcome
2,
back.
man, the Podsplain.
Thank you for having me again. And by having me, of course, I mean having me on the show.
Yeah, the show is like a thing that people actually goes on TV screen.
The screen is like a thing to the eyes with photons.
How has anybody ever learned anything if it wasn't mansplained, podsplained to them? Like all of college is podsplaining. Technically, it's college-splaining.
I am scared right now.
Yeah, me too. Well, bye. That's it for that first episode.
God,
2 of
the second
Podsplain.
episode was even worse than the first one. I hope there's not a third by those guys. I really do. I don't think they have it.
I mean, I'm sure the entire internet will love them.
Yeah, the internet might believe that was, in fact, the move. Welcome back. I've become the permanent co-host of Podsplain as this show with the episode Photons. The idea of saying that is the move is a current TikTok trend. TikTok, of course, not the sound of a clock, but rather the name of a popular app on the telephone.
Thank you for watching. Come back for episode 4. Bye.
Wow, even the guy on the show was done with the show by the end of that one. Not good.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean that'll be. I don't want to say think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't feel great right now to say that.
Yeah.
That's like playing right into their hands, kind of.
Whose hands?
The hosts of Podsplain. Because all they are about is trying to make you think about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Metaphile segment 2. Decisions and the world. How poignant, how apt for our current... Anyways.
Certainly, there are many decisions which are being made in the world and should be made in the world. And, of course, there are major things happening in the world. And this is the part of the podcast where we discuss the world. But today we're not. We're doing this book instead.
New York Times bestseller.
I hope so. Again, as I said, this is a prototype. I'm going to wait till start the timer until we're actually into it so that we can have room to breathe. So just this is the prototype.
I need a little room to breathe.
So, in order to operate in order to operate this correctly, I do have a little cheat sheet for myself because not all of the pages are the actual pages yet. Some of them are blank.
Sure.
But
it's still being written. By the way, that Linkin Park thing I just did, was that Linkin Park? I need a little room to
what
breathe.
is that, Linkin Park?
I don't know. What's that?
He knows. It's like,
I don't know. Who's that? Linkin Park? Who?
Is that a band? Jay. We're going to play Make Your Own Decisions, number 1, first in the series, I hope. This is, again, entitled You Are Jason Ford, Podcaster. It's by Zach W. Caffrey. So, Jason Ford, are you ready to play?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm less ready now. I was a lot more ready.
You are Jason Ford, podcaster. One day, after recording an episode of your podcast Metafiles with your best friend Zach, who you think is an extremely smart and cool guy, you are heading home. You leave the studio and spend a long, silent Uber ride contemplating how much you admire your co-host Zach. You arrive at your door and reach into your pocket, only to discover the key to unlock your door is missing. Do you decide to A, call your friend Zach, who you greatly admire, on the phone? If so, turn to page 39. Or try to sneak in through the back, in which case turn to page 102.
I'll go with the latter.
Okay. Her breath reeking of Franzio boxed wine, your neighbor, Mrs. Lipschitz, calls out, "Pervert! Pervert! The Ford boy's a pervert trying to sneak into an apartment!" and promptly calls the police.
Wow.
You hear the sirens wailing. There is no escape. Go ahead.
She knows that I'm the Ford, that my name and everything, but that she doesn't know that I live there.
She is accusing you of being a pervert, and this is not for the first time, by the way.
She's just always saying that.
She's very drunk on Franzia boxed wine a lot of the time. And, maybe she's a little bit of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, she says, I might fuck around, drink some Franzio, and call my neighbor a pervert.
Yeah, and maybe he'll want to come over, drink some Franzio with me. But, at any rate, the police arrive.
Things have gone south real quick in my life in this book.
I'm not saying that decisions are easy. That's not the purpose of the Make Your Own Decisions series of
and there's
novels.
no escape, and the police have arrived.
The police have arrived, and they have you cornered. Do you choose to make the decision, A, to go with the police willingly, or, in which case turn to page 84, or B, go down in a blaze of glory and fight them tooth and nail, in which case turn to page 93.
I'll go to page 84.
Okay, that is the first one I said?
Maybe a pervert, but I'm not a meth head.
Okay.
The first one, yeah.
So we're going to go to page 84 then.
I need a little room to breathe.
Mistaking your chillness.
This is a problem that I have a lot.
Mistaking your chillness as a form of resisting arrest.
Hey, I'll go to jail. It's okay. And they're like, "Sir?" Okay.
Exactly. Mistaking your chillness for resisting arrest. The police...
That's plausible.
unleash a hail of gunfire upon you, shooting you dead. The end.
Wow.
Do you want to play again?
Yeah, can we just do the other part of that decision that we just did?
No, we have to start from the beginning. We have to start from the beginning.
Oh my god.
I'll read it much faster this time. You are Jason Ford, podcaster. One day after recording episode, bed files, blah, 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 blah.
Pussycaster? Is that what you said?
Hey, pal. we haven't get to that part of the book yet. You really like your co-host Zach a whole lot. You get to your door and your key is missing. Do you call Zach on the phone or try to sneak in through the back?
I guess I'll call Zach.
Okay. So we'll turn to page 33. Excuse me for a moment.
Does the whole book end with me getting shot?
No. There are many different endings. Many. Depending on the decisions you've made. I got a whole cheat sheet here, as you can see. Okay. You call Zach. Ring, 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 it says here in the book. No answer. You hear the familiar sound of gargling that marks...
It's Zach. You've reached the metaphor.
Beep. Do you leave a message or hang up?
I leave a message.
Okay. So then we turn now to page 79. You leave the following voicemail. Hey, Zach. It's Jay, podcaster. I know you're probably at one of the several cool rock and roll parties that we both still get invited to all the time. And as you say this, you remember, you were at one of these very same rock and roll parties.
Rock and roll parties, I love those.
And we get invited to them all the time in the book.
Yeah.
So
that's why we have to put our phones on silent while we're recording this podcast.
Yeah, so that
because you just hear buzzing.
Yeah.
And
who is it?
From the rock and roll
it's Dave Mustaine again.
Dave Mustaine. Okay.
You call yourself a second Uber. You spend it silently contemplating how much you admire your co-host Zach Avery, and you arrive at the party where you promptly trip on a roller skate, which are littering the floor at this very cool party.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gliding on the roller skate, you crash onto the rock and roll stage. And what is this? A guitar is in your hand, and you half by accident play an incredible guitar solo.
I've made much better decisions this time that ended way better than getting shot.
There are many
in my
paths.
own yard to death by the police.
There are many paths that life can take, Jay. Your guitar playing is so good that you are launched almost immediately into rock stardom.
There's a wild spread of possibilities.
Yes,
life.
there is.
I love it.
Yes, there is. You are now Jason Ford, podcaster / rock star.
Whoa.
Shortly after a gig, some of your rabid fans offer you marijuana.
No.
Do you accept the marijuana and turn to page 23? Okay, we turn to page 23.
Hey, you're such a cool rock and roll star that's world famous. Do you want to smoke marijuana?
And that is what they say to you. I got it almost word for word, but the part that you left out is that these fans of yours, they seem somehow mysterious. And the more you smoke, the more mysterious they seem. And suddenly,
I get a little paranoid sometimes when I'm gardening.
And is this paranoia, or are they wearing dick shoes?
Oh.
Are their hairs, in fact, powdered wigs?
Oh no, it's the English church.
You have in fact traveled back through time, Jason Ford, podcaster, and now live in merry old ancient England.
Damn it.
You walk the streets of merry old ancient England, your buzz wearing off, and realize...
Where's the grog?
Shit, I'm stuck here with all these fucking British people going, and what else do they say?
They say, shit, Saigon. I'm still just in Saigon.
But they say it British.
Blimey, I'm only in Saigon.
Saigon, innit? Do you choose to be true to yourself and talk shit on British people constantly, or keep your damn mouth shut and turn to page 1?
I'm going to turn to page 1 and not get Iron Maidened.
Okay.
I'm not going to let them Iron Maiden my ass.
Choosing not to talk shit, choosing not to talk shit, you live for many years amongst the British people, hating it all the while.
Let's get Iron Maiden. Go back. Like, give me the spikes.
Hating it all the while. You soon turn to madness, prowling the streets of London town, fog-drenched as it is.
He used to play with Dave Mustaine in the future. Then he smoked marijuana now. He's fucked up.
They say things of this nature. You were tricked into traveling back in time by pot-smoking time travelers, fans of Dave Mustaine.
What a drag.
And you have gone quite insane and become, in fact, that notorious killer Jack the Ripper.
Oh, no.
You are no longer Jason Ford, podcaster, but are instead now Jack the Ripper, person killer. And you are murdered by bobbies.
Let's take it back to the part where I'm a rock star.
Jay, I'm afraid it doesn't work that way. We have to start at the beginning.
All right.
This is how books work.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
You are Jason Ford, podcaster. One day after recording an episode of your podcast Metaphiles with your best friend Zach, who you think is an extremely smart and cool guy, you're heading home. You leave the studio and spend a long silent Uber ride contemplating how much you admire your co-host. You arrive at the door and reach into your pocket only to discover that your key to unlock your door is missing. Do you call Zach or do you sneak in through the back?
I call Zach.
Okay, you turn to that page. No answer from the voicemail. Do you leave a voicemail?
Yes.
Okay.
Zach, I'm gonna fucking me.
Yeah, probably at one of those cool rock and roll parties that we still get invited to. You go to
I'm
the
going
party.
all the way to the weed smoking party.
You go to the party. You slip on a rollerblade. You end up playing a killer rock solo. You become a rock star. You're offered marijuana.
I turned down drugs.
You don't use drugs.
I don't use drugs.
The bikers who offered you the marijuana are extremely offended by your decision not to smoke it with them.
Oh, no.
They turn all of their motorcycles on as loud as they possibly can.
I like that.
Surrounding your head, and your brain is melted by the sounds of loud motorcycles. And the end. You are dead.
I'm kind of down with that.
Okay.
Going out on top, sharing the stage with old Dave Mustaine.
Mm-hmm. You are going out on top, yeah.
And somewhere behind all the circling motorcycle engine noises is Dave Mustaine being like, they kicked me out of Metallica for no fucking reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your hordes of fans will be like, and it's so sad that he died around the age of 27. Like, he pretty much. Just like Kurt and Jimmy and all of them. Jay, I want you to know, not all of these end in death. And I mean that when I say that. There are happy endings
this
in
is
this
not
book.
making me... This is kind of getting me down a little bit.
I know,
This is making me feel like it's not going to be good.
Things have gone a little crooked so far, but I want you to know there are happy endings to be had. Do you want to keep playing?
Okay.
Okay. You are Jason Ford, podcaster. One day, after recording an episode of your podcast Metaphiles with your best friend Zach, who you think is an extremely smart and cool guy, you are heading home. You leave the studio and spend a long, silent Uber ride contemplating how much you admire.
These are meta decisions, by the way. Me deciding to go through it back again. I don't know. This fucking novel of fucking reality, man.
Well, it isn't reality.
No, it is. You're reading the book and we doing this podcast. I'm starting to question everything.
Well, I mean, we're in a way, perhaps we're discussing the very ideas of decisions themselves. Sorry, this is not Explain Pod.
Okay, go ahead.
You arrive at your door and reach into your pocket only to discover the key to your door is missing. Do you call your friend Zach, who you think is extremely smart and cool, or do you try to sneak in through the back?
I'm going to sneak in through the back.
Okay. Her breath smelling of wine, Mrs. Lipschitz calls you a pervert and calls the police. The police arrive. Do you attempt to go with them or go down in a blaze of glory?
I'll go down in a blaze of glory.
All right. You fight the police, and since everybody else in your apartment complex... Sorry, I should be reading this. Since everybody else in your apartment complex believes very strongly in ACAB, you are lauded as a hero. And when you are sent to trial, Thousands line up outside the courthouse,
You're like,
chanting,
"Free Luigi!"
Free Luigi, we mean Jay, it says.
We mean Jay.
We meant to say Jay. The judge, perhaps bending to the will of the public, perhaps understanding your plight, having been called a pervert many times in his own life.
No wig this time.
No wig. No wig. He's a bald judge and proud.
No dick shoes.
Proud. Nope.
Okay.
He's a bald and proud judge,
proud
it says
judge.
here in the
Okay,
book.
good.
And he also has been called a pervert many times. He offers you 3 options. You can turn to page 17.
I'm starting to think that the way to get through this book is to think like a lib cuck.
I don't want to tell you how to strategize. So, however you think you can make it to a happy ending is how you should try to make it. These are your decisions to make. These are Make Your Own Decisions books from Metaphiles Books. But this one written by Zach McCaffrey.
Metaphiles Publishing.
It is
Sorry to
Metaphiles
interrupt.
Books, as you can see here.
Yeah.
The judge, bald and proud judge, who has been called a pervert many times, offers you 3 options. You can go to prison in the good old United States of America. You can be sent to an international prison, or you can be sent to a work release program on an oil rig.
I'll do the oil rig.
Mm-hmm. And that, of course, is on page 99.
I'm an oil man. You can talk to many other oil mans. They won't get to the oil quite as fast as me. This is my son, JR.
Doing your Daniel Plainview impression on the oil rig gains you great popularity among your peers.
That's in the book?
And you quickly become one of the most well-liked employees of the oil rig.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that you discover one fateful day that it is in fact quite easy to skim a little bit of oil off the top.
Wow.
Mixing this with vinegar from the storerooms, you create a delicious salad dressing. Then you create several more.
Like Newman's Own.
You, in fact, and this was written on both in the book and on the cheat sheet, you become known as the Paul Newman of the Sea through your salad dressing.
Fuck yeah.
Yes. This gains you international acclaim. You are approached by Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
You are told by Hollywood, we would like to make a biopic of your story, starring Finn Wolfhard. Finn Wolfhard.
Okay.
Do you choose to allow Hollywood to make the biopic, or do you tell them no and strike out on a film career of your very own?
I'll strike out on a film career of my very own.
Okay, that is on page... Block. Hooray for Hollywood! Your future is bright. Everyone loves your movies. You make several of them, and everybody who you want to like them likes them.
This isn't starting good. I'm going to fall into a fucking wood chipper or something. This is bad.
Jay, one day on set...
Oh, God. I get raped by Steven Spielberg?
No.
Okay.
No. One day on set, while directing your directorial debut, you are dealing with the props department and looking at several props which will be needed over the course of your film.
Do I get the crowd?
Huh?
The
No, you don't get the crowd. Or
yeah, he died last week, man. He the crowed himself. Yeah.
But he used to hang out with Dave Mustaine. Oh no, different guy. Surveying the various props, you spot, shining, gleaming under the lights, a key. And you remember, yes, I once lost a very important key.
Wow.
You lift this key and look at its ridges, and they remind you of the ridges of your old house key, but they're not the same. You finish the day's work and go home, and you bring out an old notebook, and you draw the key. You try to remember the shapes of your own home key.
Mm.
And finally, you think, this is the one.
Mm.
You go to a key maker and have the key made. You take your private jet from your Hollywood fame and fly it to your home in old Nashville and go to your old apartment. Ah, Mrs. Lipschitz, hello, how are you? It's 3 p.m. and I see you've already got cracked into today's box. You insert the key into the door. And you are home, reunited with your key and your home, just in time for next week's podcast. The end.
Oh, amazing. I did it.
You did.
Wow. No, that was fantastic.
Thank you. There are still many paths unexplored.
No, that was amazing. It started out a little, but yeah.
I'm gonna break the code of not spoiling anything about Make Your Own Decisions and tell you that when you had the choice of starting your own film career or letting a biopic starring Finn Wolfhard, had you chosen biopics, you would have died. Because biopics,
they're the fucking worst.
They're the worst. And I think
it's a little prescient too, because those get made about people who died.
Absolutely.
They don't
And
make it when people are alive.
I would have to turn to that page, but I'm pretty sure you died by suicide in that one.
Well, I'm glad I fucking made it. That was incredible.
Thank you.
Props. That was fantastic. Wow.
Thank you. Well, it takes
a roller coaster the whole time.
It takes a great reader to make a great book. So
wow.
Thank you. Many paths still to explore, but of course the timer for segment 2 has gone off. So
it was a masterclass in decisions.
Mm-hmm.
However fictitious and contrived they all were, it still. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. This is segment 3. You're listening to 92.5 The Metaphiles, and I hope you're having a good time, taking it easy, relaxing. On whatever night this finds you, just remember that things can get a little bit stressful sometimes, but in the choose your own adventure of your life, there's no wrong answers. Enjoy this next tune. It's called Why Decisions.
Why decisions? Why do you have to make decisions? I've been out making decisions for very many decisions.
Oh, you're a metaphile. But that don't mean you don't got your reasons. You better let somebody watch YouTube before it's... You better let somebody subscribe before it's too late. I need a little room to breathe. They remix Desperado. It's the Trans-Siberian Orchestra Desperado version.
Those guys. Okay, let's...
I fucking hate that shit.
The Trans-Siberian Orchestra made a decision, which was Christmas music needs to be more badass.
I hate it so much.
It needs to rock.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And, yeah, they're not good.
And the bells, ugh.
That I was hearing that up in my nose. Were you hearing that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Should we put it on the Beats Me?
Yeah.
Do you hear the nose? Maybe you have to be in my skull. Maybe you have to live a day inside my skull to hear that sound in your
Yeah,
nose.
all right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why decisions?
Why? Why can't we not make any decisions?
Well, here's what I was talking about. We're about to get really deep because I'm talking about in segment 1. I was like, we're going to talk about free will and stuff, and you know, decisions. They can't exist in a vacuum. You can't just be floating around with nothing meaning anything. You have to have a value system where some things are more desirable than other things in one capacity or another, in order to choose based on what you want, which itself is a value system that you didn't choose. It's ontological, you know? So it's like, even if you have the free will to choose what you want, you didn't choose what you want and need. You didn't choose any of that. You didn't choose that you have to breathe air or eat food, you know? So, you know, even then, as a very low level, where's the choice even there to begin with, you know?
Do you want dirt on your floor or not?
Yeah.
These are decisions in a vacuum.
What does dirt on your floor get you?
Dirt on
What
the
does it
bottom
keep
of your
from
feet.
Mm.
What does dirt on the bottom of your feet get you?
Places that you go? You want to go to those
Certainly.
places?
Do I want to go to those places? Am I deciding that I want to
Dirty?
go to those places?
Dirty places?
Do I want to track dirt into dirty places, and that's why I go to dirty places? Or do I go to dirty places because I want to get my feet dirty?
Mm-hmm. Is it something to sustain, to accept?
Is it something to Mustaine?
Fuck war and politics, man. I fucking hate Megadeth so much.
But you got to give it up. Not a lot of people would hate both war and politics. It's pretty cool that he didn't like either of them.
Yeah, that's
most
pretty
people are
easy.
like, I'm not into war, but politics, yeah.
I hate war and politics.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I mean, decisions, like, that's why decisions, because one thing's better than another thing.
And to take what you were saying a little bit seriously. Not too much, don't worry. See?
There we go.
See, we still can have fun. Keep those ready.
Sure.
The idea of what we...
Oh, not that ready? Too ready?
a little too ready.
All right, sorry. The idea
that I make a decision that is, I want to eat the Reuben today. That would seem like free will.
Mm-hmm.
But is it in fact because I was raised a certain way in which the Reuben is a more valuable sandwich to me than the roast beef?
He's Jewish.
I am Jewish, and of course the Reuben, a very Jewish sandwich.
Sure. Yeah.
The roast beef.
They're both beef-based sandwiches.
The Philly cheesesteak, if you will.
Ah.
I was not raised in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Would you have been if you could have chose?
Could I have chosen to have been raised in Philadelphia?
Me? Fuck no.
No. I did.
Southern by the grace of God.
Goddamn.
But yeah.
To eat the Philly cheesesteak for my whole life and never have tasted a pepperoni roll on God's green earth? The pepperoni roll being a West Virginia delicacy for those who aren't aware. No, I would not choose this. But are the things that I think that I choose, in fact, not chosen by me at all?
Mm. Oh, yeah, okay. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it's like, keeping that in mind, the question is, how important is any decision at all? You know, because if you place importance on one decision, then you inherently place all this importance on the involuntary things. You give it all of those things credence by making a decision any certain way.
Mm-hmm. We decided to begin a podcast.
Yes.
As we discussed previously. And we decided that our podcast would be comedic in nature, but also have room for actual discussions of things we find interesting.
True.
We could very well have decided to begin a sports podcast. Fuck Duke. And things of this nature.
And were we a different podcast right now, doing a different episode right now, we'd be saying the same thing and be like, what if we decided to do a fucking comedy podcast instead of this Sunday morning football, sports fucking shit.
Right, that we record on a Wednesday night.
On a Wednesday.
Which is...
Wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. That's too long after the game.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to talk about the next game, and we don't know what happened in that one yet.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm. But we are... What?
Well, that would be a decision that we would have made, and...
We were... it's a decision that we would have made differently if we were other people, and we didn't really decide who we were. Or did we? Only to a certain degree.
Let's play Sliding Doors.
Sliding Doors?
A movie I've never seen but have heard referenced, which is sort of like the great upcoming book series, Make Your Own Decisions book. Sliding Doors is a movie. I think it has Gwyneth Paltrow or one of those types of people in it, where she either gets on the subway or she doesn't. And then we see everything that would have happened either way. Let's do it with our lives real quick.
Instead of Gwyneth Paltrow's?
Let's decide that we are Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay.
And make decisions that Gwyneth Paltrow might have made.
I'm going to fuck Johnny Depp.
That is a decision that certainly Gwyneth Paltrow could have made.
Anyways. So.
And I imagine Johnny Depp would have been up for it.
Yeah, sure, I'll fuck you, Gwyneth. Let's do it. That's my Johnny Depp. Is it pretty good?
It sounded like him agreeing to fuck Gwyneth Paltrow.
Thanks.
So, no. Because I'm not ready to write You Are Gwyneth Paltrow actress quite yet. By the way, I should point out that, I do think we'll go back to You Are Jason Ford podcaster throughout
we have to.
The Metaphiles, because there are many paths yet to be explored. And I also want to announce here on this episode that I am planning to write Make Your Own Decisions books number 2. You are Zach Caffrey Make Your Own Decisions books author. So that will be upcoming at some point. Just for the record.
A lot of layers. I like it.
Thank you. It's one could call it a bit meta.
Oh.
If one were to make the decision to do so.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, very, very good.
You seem like you smoked pot and have been living in merry old England town.
Oh, God! I escaped that fate. Thank you, God.
Anyways, what's a decision in your life that you can absolutely pinpoint? Like that was an A or a B, and I took A, and I kind of know where B would have been. Is that a segment 3 topic, or did we miss the boat?
Sure, no.
Okay.
It was doing the personal work on myself, deciding to do that in order to improve myself enough to be in a stable relationship. And if I had chosen B, I'm quite certain I would have kept on the path that I was on, which was just not doing much and just being on my own. and it would have not changed much at all. Not much would have changed about it. I can say that.
A very real and astute answer.
Thank you. Yeah. And, yeah. It was a big decision because I could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
Based on who I was a few years back, I genuinely could have gone either way. And I think that the universe, if you will, if I may, got me just not the book.
The universe.
Oh,
the picture of the universe.
The galaxy, it gave me just a little bit of a push, just a little bit extra to help me in the decision that I did make, which I am very happy about. And I hate to think if that hadn't have happened. But, you think about that and it's like, I think about making that decision is like, it went the way it did, but maybe it would have gone some other way anyways, differently, because I was just at the point of like enough sameness to where I would have either way made some kind of large change, So it's actually called, and I may be mispronouncing this, doxaxism. Doxaxism. And it's the concept, the philosophical concept of does one like choose they want to believe something and then figure out why it's true and why they believe it?
I have done that.
Or the inverse of like something, things go a certain way and they find themselves believing something as a consequence of everything that's, been shown to them. And they just, I just have to believe this.
I have done that as well.
So it's that like dichotomy, of like, how does one come to believe something? And, obviously just a little bit slightly removed from a decision, right?
And how did you pronounce it?
Doxaxism.
So you were close. It is MS doxaxism.
Oh, like MS-DOS?
A little bit like that, yeah. Yeah, I guess.
MS doxaxism?
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
How so?
With your mouth.
Well, anyways, that's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole fucking thing of like, again, like I was talking about this big decision in my life that you asked about.
Mm-hmm. I did.
It's like, how do you come to that? How do you come to a decision?
I decided to ask you that.
But how?
How
did you decide that, or did the circumstances of recording a podcast this very night dictate that,
this very night
that you think that and you went along with it?
And this, of course, is the heart of MS doxaxism.
Anyways.
And I'll go a step further, please. I'll go a step further, as you are saying this very night that I choose to ask you that question. As you were telling your sliding door, your make your own decision.
My real life make my own decision book.
I thought of mine.
Yeah. What do you got?
I began working a job at the age of 24. And I was working this job, and I quickly got promoted because I was well liked, and I was making very good money. It was my first ever job, got promoted, making very nice money at it. Very happy in this job. Simultaneously, we had begun hosting shows at my home. And there came a time where we were going to try to host our version of a festival, 2 days worth of bands in a row. Very ambitious undertaking. We were all very excited about it. I foolishly didn't request off work for these 2 days in time. And so the schedule had already come out, and I went in and begged, hey, can I get these 2 days off? Something really important is happening. They tried. There was nothing they could do. And I'm sitting in the office of this job, and they're saying, there is nothing we can do. And I made the decision in that moment to tell them, I'm not going to be here on those 2 days.
A hard decision to make.
It was. I had nothing else lined up. I had never had a job before and didn't know if I would ever have another one ever again. But I decided in that moment, no, I'll figure that out. It is very much more important for me and my soul that I am at this music festival that me and my friends are starting than that I have this job. So I told them I won't be there. And they said, well, that means that you're fired. And I said, yes, it does. And I walked out, and I did not have a job. And I attended that music festival.
You did the Richard Nixon.
No, Jay, that.
Oh, no, he did that, and then he went like that.
Oh, I've never seen the second part of the GIF.
On the helicopter. Okay.
Now, that decision, I could have missed this show, which, I didn't need to be there for it to run correctly, but I could have stayed at that job and been like, fuck, it sucks that I missed that one. I'll definitely ask for the next one off, and I do that and all these things. Could have been that my life was not drastically different. But I chose the art life that is my life because of whatever, free will, MS-DOS mysticism.
You chose all this.
Well, that's the thing. Yes, all of this, all the glory, all the leaky ceilings and everything. Was fired, attended the festival, had a wonderful, soul-enriching time, met people who I'm friends with to this day, etc.
At your very next job, met your two best friends.
That's the thing.
Life, including your co-host.
After the festival was over, I was beating the street, walking into places, handing in my resume, leaving off the last sentence of my resume. And where should I be hired? But at the very job at which I met you, and this podcast exists for me to ask you the questions that I asked you.
Solely from that one decision in that office.
Decision in that office.
Wow. Beautiful.
So.
Beautiful.
A great example of MS-DOS mysticism. The timer has gone off and we have done none of the work.
Well.
And we haven't played another round of Make Your Own Decisions, You Are Jason Ford Podcaster. We might not get to that. We must do the work.
Let me say this.
Yes.
Let me take a leak.
Okay.
And cut this out. Well, it went by fast.
I might leave that in. 3, 2, 1.
That was some good song.
Yeah. We got to do the work. We have to do it. We have to do it. We don't like the work. We have to do the work. And also, we like doing the work.
The villain of decisions.
The villain of decisions, apathy. Apathy. Also, decision fatigue. Or the fatigue of decisions, which I suffer from, also known sometimes as fat deck. And I've had a fat deck before, and
I completely have experienced that too. It's like
you've had fat deck.
Yeah, you know what has helped me, and this is like pretty recently, is just to just go ahead and make decisions and be okay if they're wrong.
Yeah.
Just say fuck it and like this is a decision. That's it. Like you know.
You know, Jay, that is like I'm being very genuine when I say this. That is put so cleanly that it's like impossible to ignore the truth of it. Just fucking do a thing, and maybe it's not the one, but it's the one, and it's better than sitting around twiddling your thumbs with your fat deck.
Because wait, Yeah, because what you're doing is letting life just play out. Because up until you'd make that decision, you're like, hold up, everybody hold up, everything hold up. Life, just stop before it goes wrong, and let me make sure that it goes the way that it could best go. And instead of just be like, you know what, and just make it.
And one way to accomplish this is to say, I guess I'll just watch the new Nicolas Cage thing on Netflix that I don't really know anything about, but I'm just gonna check it because I'm sick of scrolling around here.
Just watch it, man.
I'm wasting my whole life here. I'm just gonna check that movie out. Maybe it'll be good. You know, Nicolas Cage is gonna turn in a performance. So
is this one where he talks really weird?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it might be that one.
That one. Wow.
Yeah, the one where he talks really weird and he delivers his lines like with a little more energy than you were expecting.
Word. Yeah. Okay.
So the villain is apathy.
Yeah. And
the way to defeat the villain is that decisions ultimately defeats the villain.
Yep. Make a decision, be it a bad decision or a wrong one.
That's nice.
Or a great one.
We don't often, when we're doing the villain, know that the hero can win.
Yeah.
And in this case...
Well, the whole thing there is like you like to... The crux of it really is thinking that you're smarter than you really are anyways.
That is fucking well put.
Thank you.
I can't believe how... what great advice we're really giving people here at the tail end of this episode.
Yeah, this should be on the Patreon. This should be behind a paywall.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean that's the real, you know, you're not really that quite that smart anyways for it to be that big of a deal.
Right.
Yeah. So
they're also not smarter than Nicolas Cage necessarily. So if he decided he wanted to be in the movie, he probably thought about it a lot. And he made a decision, and why don't you go ahead and respect his decision for a little while?
Yeah. What's
Yes. What's the next one?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, so we got, of course, the lesson, the fate, the twist.
Okay, what's the fate?
And that's it. The fate of decisions.
The fate.
I mean, you gotta put them in the Pinewood. You gotta.
Once again, it would turn back into being a vacuum that you're floating in without any propulsion in any direction. Just like nothing is meaning anything, and that's an interesting observation in its own right. It's like you talk about decisions and how like, oh, I have to have free will for it to be important, and it's like, yeah, it's all important because even if it's just an illusion of free will, it's like, you know, you need to, even if it's just for your own sanity, it has to be some kind of decision. I don't know if that translated correctly, but
it made sense to me. Without decisions,
you gotta have decisions.
There's a black hole.
There's nothing. Yeah.
There's no metaphiles.
Yep. Okay. I know the lesson. I thought of the lesson when you were talking about your thing. You mentioned that you made the decision to quit your job for the sake of your soul. The lesson is you only have one soul, and you're the only one that can call the shots on that soul. And that's why decisions.
Poignant.
Because you got one soul, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one it's in your keeping alone.
Even James Brown only had one soul.
Believe it or not, that's right. Smokey Robinson, only one soul.
Only one.
Yeah.
Great lesson. Beautiful. We're
tearing through it, man.
We're tearing through it. We're
eating this work alive.
We're being real pretty in the work.
Love it.
We gotta have the twist, though. So, an episode filled with twists. You got shot down for agreeing to surrender, etc. We got the origin story of Metaphiles in a way.
I was at the wrong house anyways. I lived with the lady that did the boxed wine.
That is the twist.
That was my home.
You could have just knocked on the door because there's somebody else there that could have let you in. That is the twist. Yeah.
I didn't have to go off and do all this Hollywood shit.
And I feel like it's worth noting. You were discussing the major your own decision of your real life, being that you put all this work in to change yourself and be prepared for commitments and these sorts of things. And because of that, this is the first episode we are recording post you moving in with the person to whom this work led to.
First, yeah.
That's pretty decision.
Oh, yeah.
So, the truth of the Make Your Own Decisions book 1 is that it is a work of fiction, and you could have just knocked on the door. Because your lady would have been like, hey, welcome home.
And it was all just a work of fiction before then. In your fucking mind.
In your mind, because this is all about you, and you forgot that.
That's right.
And it's a comedy podcast. So that's the work. We did it.
This has been a fantastic episode.
I agree, and
it's great that we decided to make this episode, frankly.
It was a great decision on our part, and it was a great decision on your part to watch it. And Jay, I would like to reward the decision that they made, and also because we haven't put out a new episode in a little while, and I frankly am okay with this one running a little long because of that. I'd like to make the decision that we play one more round of Make Your Own Adventure, You Are Jason Ford Podcaster.
No.
And that's a decision that Jay made.
We tease it for the next episode.
Okay.
That's the move.
All right. And that's a decision. And do you agree with Jay's decision?
It's simple marketing.
And does Jay's decision in that moment somehow lead to a very unexpected death?
Oh, God.
Find out next episode.
No. We're teasing it. We're bringing it back next episode.
Yeah, we got a lot more paths to go down in that book.
All right.
And we will. And so, I decide to say in this moment that this is the part of the podcast sign-off that I say.
You know what? This is the part of the podcast sign-off that I say.
And we talked to you real good, didn't we?
Metaphiles.
Hello there. It's almost the end of the show, but not quite. I'm Zach Caffrey.
I'm Jason Ford.
And you just watched the episode of Metaphiles that you watched, and now you're seeing this. And it's the part where we say, it's like us, subscribe to us, comment about it.
Get on our shit.
Get on it. Build a little community with us. You're all a part of it. It's a nice little world we have here.
It's just a big ball of liking and subscribing and comments.
And it's wonderful to do. And you like doing it. You do.
You do.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
And this week, why not make a comment about bye.
Bye-bye.
Metaphiles.